Ad Heichon Gilgal Shvua. So the Gemara has been discussing this concept of Gilgal Shvua, which loosely means if you can't force somebody to swear, but they have to swear for something else. Let's say, guys, a monetary dispute where there is a chiyuv to swear. So then once you're making the guy swear, he can swear for other things too. Oh, once you're swearing for this, swear for this, and swear for this. So the Gemara wants to know, Ad Heichon Gilgal Shvua, how far does it go? Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Rav. Rabbi Yehuda says in the name of Rav, the Amar Lehi Shava Li She'ein Avdiata. He can even make him swear that he's not. He says, swear that you're not my Eved, that you're not my slave.
So what's he swearing on? You don't know.
He said what's the original shvua?
Yeah.
Whatever it is. Well, maybe it's a classical case where he said you owe me money and he was made of a miktsas. Where he would have to swear. So once he's swearing, he says, swear that you're not my Eved. Says the Gemara, Hahu Shamuti Mishamtinale, or affect the Gemara. The Gemara is bothered that we find in other sources that a person is like cursed. He's in need. He goes like he's excommunicated if he does such a thing. The Tanya, like we have a brayso, Hakavi L'Chaveri Eved. If somebody calls his friend an Eved, he refers to him as like as a slave. Yehei b'nidoi. He'll be excommunicated. He'll be in nidoi, like excommunicated. And if he calls him a mamzer, Seif gets arboim. He gets malchus. This is like a rabbanon, a rabbinic malchus. Like it's called what's it called again? Malchus Mardus. It's not like a deraisa malchus, but you get malchus for going against the chazal. If you call your friend a mamzer, and if you call your friend a Russia, so there's no. Oh, by the way, just nidui. It's going down in
severity.
Levels. Yeah, in severity. Thank you. The nidui is the strongest. Then the malchus. And then Yeredim L'chayev, if you call your friend a Russia, Yeredim L'chayev, you could even go against him in competition. Like you can't bring anything against him in court, but you could hate him and you could start a business next door to his, try to put him out of business. Personally, you could have
the person who was insulted could
like get him back. Could like have tinus on him. But if he called him a Russia, so you see from this brayso that it's not so simple. You can't just say swear that you're not my Eved. What's this business of Elam Rava? The Rava says what he meant was Hishav Ali Shalonim Karta Li Eved Ivri. Swear to me that you weren't sold to me as an Eved Ivri. So basically, what he's saying is, this is like a monetary dispute. How was somebody usually sold as an Eved Ivri? If he owed money. Or rather, no, if a guy paid for somebody to be his Eved Ivri, because the guy needed money, and now the guy's denying that he was ever bought as an Eved Ivri, so that's a regular monetary dispute. He says, I paid for you to be my Eved Ivri. He says, no, you didn't. So he's making him swear on that. For the Gemara, Tainasam al Yisahi. That's a regular taina. That's something which you could bring on him a shvua anyways in court. Like you could make him swear for it. It's like he's saying, I gave you money. He's saying, no, I didn't. Rava l'tamei. Rava's going according to his own reasoning. The Amar Rava Eved Ivri gufay kana. He holds that Eved Ivri, his guf is actually kanoi. It's obviously a machlaikas. If you own the Eved Ivri, or he just like works for you. But Rava holds that Eved Ivri gufay kanoi. So it's not like a tainus metaltalin. The general rule is by karka you don't swear. You can't make somebody swear on karka. This is like coming back from the previous Mishnah. You can't swear on karka, and you could swear on metaltalin. You could make the guy swear on metaltalin. And you could, the Gilgal Shvua comes in, if you're swearing on metaltalin, anyways, you could throw in karka. That's what we talked about in the Mishnah. So, according to Rava, that Eved Ivri Gufay Kanoi, so it's not called metaltalin anymore. So that's why you can't swear. So we said, Hatainas and Ma'al Yasahi, if a guy says, I bought you as an Eved Ivri, and he says, no, I didn't, you can't make him swear because it's not a taina on metaltalin. It's, if anything, karka, because you're kind of the guf of the Eved, which is like karka. Ihachi hainu karka, then it's karka. So we know with Gilgal it works and without it doesn't work. So what's the chiddush? Ma the tema karka hu de avidi inshi de mizavdi b'tzina im isa de zav unless lekala. I would think that a Gilgul Shvua only works for Karka because nobody knows about Karka. So you could throw a Shvua onto Karka because Karka usually is the kind of thing where the transaction takes place in private. People don't know about the sale. So we're a little more lenient when it comes to swearing, and we let him be Megalgal Shvua. If he has to swear on something else, we let him swear also on the Karka. Because nobody knows about Karka. Less like Kala. There's no like announcement. It doesn't become public information. But Emisa the Zavin Kala high. Emisa the Zavin Kala Islay. Kamashma. So over here by Eved Ivri, people know about it. So I would think.
You see gossip.
Exactly. It's gossip. So I would. Did you hear? He got sold in Eved Ivri, right? So I would think maybe you can't swear because people know about it, and if people don't know about it, maybe it's not true. So you can't make him swear. And if you hold like Gufay Kanoi, like Rava, so then it's like Karka, and there's no Shvua. Kamash Malon, that you could have a Gilgul Shvua on Eved that you weren't sold. Hishav Ali Shalayim Kartali be'Eved Ivri, like Rava said. You could be Megalgal Shvua that he was not sold as an Eved Ivri. Okay. Zok the Mishnah. Mishnah says, Kalanas Adamim be'acher Kivan shezacha zeh neschayev zeh b'chalipov. So the Mishnah now is talking about another form of kinyan, which is known as kinyan chalipin. Kinyan chalipin could be broken down into two types of kinyan chalipin. So there's one kind of kinyan chalipin where you exchange money for the item. So you give the guy the money. Once he takes the money, so the Mishnah says, damim kivan zeh b'chalipov. As soon as the seller accepts the money, so the buyer now owns the thing that he's buying. I think that's the simple understanding of the Mishnah at this point. Keitzad, how so? How does this work? Hichlif shar b'para. If you're switching, you're doing a chalipin. One, he's taking a shar, and you're giving him a para, or the opposite, or a different, or chamor b'shar, or you're switching chamor for shar. Kivan shezachazeh neschayev zeh b'chalipav. As soon as one party is zaycha in
takes position
of the one animal, so you take the other one. We'll see in the Gemara a whole different explanation for this, or a few different explanations for this. Okay, but this is so at this point
consummates the deal.
Correct. Once one person takes ownership of one animal, so even if I don't have the other one in my possession, it's not here, I can get it. So just to break down, the Mishnah is saying two things. There's two types of chalipin. I think this is the simple understanding of the Mishnah. One type of chalipin, like you see happening a lot of times, if you go to a Kabbal's Panim, by the chuppah, you see them picking up a pen or picking up a yarmulke or something like that. So they're doing an act of kinyan to be to consummate a kinyan somewhere else, which is or something else. So he's being mechayev himself by doing an act of a kinyan. So that same kind of thing would work on, let's say I want to be kind of your car, which is not here, it's downtown. So we could do a kinyan chalipin. I could do an act of a kinyan on something else. Maybe it's money. So that's the first Mishnah. The first part of the Mishnah says, "Kol hanasa damim ba'acher kivan shezachazeh neschayet zeh b'chalipin." So as soon as the buyer takes the seller takes the money, the owner now owns the car, even though it's far away. And the other one is, it seems like the Mishnah is talking about swapping sharba para, and chamor b'shar. So let's see what the Gemara says.
At a couple of spanan, what is that?
That's a kinyan chalipin. You just take any item.
I know, but what is it regarding?
It's regarding each party obligating himself to what it says in the Tanoim. Like usually, if you look at the wording there, it says so and so on behalf of the chassan. It's usually the father of the chassan, and so on behalf of the kala obligate themselves to the agreement. First of all, they agree that their children are going to marry each other. And that the chassan is going to obligate him to certain things that he has to give to the kala, etc. But that kinyan chalipin is just to solidify that deal, like to Okay. Zakta Gemara. Chalipin mai nihu. What's the chalipin? I think the Gemara is asking about what's the chalipin in the Mishnah that we're talking about, right? Matbeya. It's a coin. Like what are you doing a chalipin on here in the Mishnah? We said kivan shezacha zeh, right? The Mishnah said kol hanasa damim ba'acher kivan shezacha zeh neschayev zeh b'chalipov. right? One second, let me just see one thing. Kol Nas Adam. Yeah. Kol Nas Adam and Ba'acher is anything that's like sold for money. So,
anything whose value must be assessed in order to use it as a payment for something else
could be done. You could have chalipin on it, right? So it's not necessarily money, right?
Other than the coin, yeah. The coin has an assessed value, so it's an argument. It's not everybody holds that you can use a coin to do chalipin with.
Right. So what's the Gemara's question now? Is chalipin my nihu matbeya?
He's explaining it. Yeah.
I'm saying, but I think the simple understanding before we get to that is that there was a coin used in the Mishnah. The chalipin was done with a coin.
Right.
Matbeya. So you see from here, Shema Mina, Matbeya Nasa Chalipin.
Yeah.
You see, you could do Chalipin with a Matbeya, with a coin.
Right.
Like you're saying, with something with a set value on it. Shema Mina, Matbeya Nasa Chalipin. But that's not the accepted view. Like in the Gemara Bava Metzia, it seems that the accepted rule is that we don't do Chalipin with Matbeya. Rabbi Yehuda, Hachi Kamar. Kol Anishum Damim Ba'acher. This is what you were saying, right? The Gemara is now explaining the Mishnah. What the Mishnah means to say is not that you're swapping a coin for the item. It's not chalipin with a coin. Rather, anything which is assessed with a value, kol nishum damim ba'acher. So, kivan shezachas zeh nischayev b'chalipin. As soon as one party takes ownership of that item, the other one is kind of the item that he's buying. Dekonami, it seems like that from the words of the Mishnah. Because if you look at the Mishnah, it's very interesting. The Mishnah says, what's chalipin? Right? Again, let me see the words of the Mishnah again. Kolanas adam ba'acher, which we thought meant if you give money, the other one is now owns what he was buying. Ketzad, how so? You switch a shar for a chamar. That's very interesting because we like Ketzad. What does Ketzad mean? Ketzad means how so. But the Mishnah goes ahead to explain a separate case. Let's see it inside. Dekanami, Dekatani, Ketzad hichlif shar b'para oy chamar b'shar. Shma mina. Right? The Mishnah says you could do chalipin by giving a coin, by giving money, and then the other guy gets the item that he's buying. How so? You switch a shar for a chamar. That doesn't really make sense. Must be that the Mishnah is saying two different things. The Mishnah is saying anything which is assessed, which has to be assessed, but not money, anything but money, not a coin, it's not something with a set value. Once you switch items, once one party takes his item, the other one automatically is kind of his item.
So it doesn't work with a coin.
Right, and that's why the Mishnah says Ketzad. Ketzad, give me an example. Example would be I give you a shar and I take a chamar. So that's it. The Mishnah is really just saying one thing according to this explanation. But for the Gemara, what we thought when we just read the Mishnah simply, the matbeya nasa chalipin, it sounds like there is at least a havamina, or maybe even one opinion that says you could do chalipin with matbeya. Right? Like the Gemara started off, Shema Mina. Once the Gemara said that line, it means that there is, at least, it could make sense at that point. The Gemara had a kash on it, but we had one point in the Gemara where we said, Matbeya Nasa Chalipin. So when we said Matbeya Nasa Chalipin, that means the Mishnah is saying that you could do Chalipin with the coin. And then the Mishnah still says, Ketzad, how so? You switch a shar for a chamar. So how did it make sense at that point of the Gemara? At this point of the Gemara, we switched it. We said, you can't do chalipin with a coin. You were doing a regular case of chalipin, and the Mishnah says, Ketzad hichlif shar b'chamar is just an example of how you do chalipin. But at the point where the Gemara says, Shema mino matbeya nasa chalipin, that you could do chalipin with a coin, and then we said, Ketzad, you could switch shar b'chamar, what did the Mishnah mean? It doesn't make sense. So the Gemara explains. The Gemara explains now what we meant in the Havamina. My Ketzad. What's the Ketzad? Hachi Kamar. This is what the Mishnah was saying. It's coming to tell us that there's another type of chalipin also not mentioned in the Mishnah. You could also do chalipin with peiros, with fruit. This is also something of dispute. And it seems the Mishnah is trying to teach us over here that you could do chalipin with peiros. Ketzad. How do you? What's the? So this is the ketzad. Ketzad. How do you do chalipin with fruit? Hichlif basar shar bepara or basar chamar b'shar. Basar. I understand. I guess it means the meat of an animal is like peiros, like fruit of a tree. We consider meat just like it has the same status as fruit. It's not because it's not a keli, it's not an item, it's not a taltalin. I mean, it's a movable object, but it's the same idea. So ketzad hichlif basar shar b'par. When we said in the Mishnah, ketzad hichlif shar b'chamar, when you switch a shar b'chamar, it means the meat of a shar b'para or basar chamar b'shar. Once one party takes hold of his, the other one is zaycha in his, even if it's not there. So, in fact, the Gemara Hani Chil Rav Sheishes, that works according to Rav Sheishes. The Amar Peiris Avdi Chalipin. You could do Chalipin with Peiris, and even though it's not a keli. Elul Rav Nachman Amar Peiris Le Avdi Chalipin. But according to Rav Nachman, that holds you can't do Kinyan Chalipin with Peiris. Michael Meimar. How are you going to explain the Ketzad of the Mishnah? According to Rav Sheishes, the Ketzad of the Mishnah, the thing that we didn't understand in the Mishnah was coming to tell us that there's another kind of Kinyan Chalipin here with Peiros. Makes sense. But according to Rav Nachman, who holds you can't do Kinyan Chalipin with Peiros, so then how do we explain the Mishnah? If the Mishnah is talking about doing Chalipin with a coin in the Havamina, and then Ketzad, and we talked about Shar B'Para, etc., doesn't make sense. What's the Ketzad? So Hachi Kamar. The Gemara explains a different explanation, according to Rav Nachman. Yesh damim shehein kachalipin. There's money that sometimes could be like chalipin. Ketzad hichlif demei shar b'para oy demei chamar b'shar. That will work. In other words, if you take if what's the case again? 1 second. So I'm selling you an ox, let's say, right? Oh, exactly. What the Mishnah is saying is there's another type of kinyan over here, and it's not really working it's just like chalipin. Right? I'm saying, this is what it means. Yesh damim shehein kachalipin. What the Mishnah is coming to teach us is it's not a real kinyan chalipin. Like you pick, you like I'm zeich and this, and then you're zeich and that. It's a type of transaction that's like chalipin. Ketzad hichlef demei shar b'para or demei chamar b'shar. If I'm doing like a money transaction, I'm selling you my ox for X amount of dollars. As soon as I get the money, now you get the ox automatically, even though it's not here. As soon as you take the seller takes the money, the buyer now owns the ox and has all the responsibilities for the ox, even if he didn't actually do the mashicha. So that's similar to chalipin, because the chalipin you could do kinyan chalipin over here, even though the item is in a totally different place. My taima. Why does this work? Different than in other places. Savar like Rabbi Yochanan, because we hold like Rabbi Yochanan. The Amar Dvar Torah Ma'is Kainais. Money is kaina. See, the chiddush over here is that normally by metatlin we say you have to do a mashicha. You have to actually hold the metatlin or pull the animal. You have to do a mashicha on the metatlin. Here we're saying that we have a type of a money transaction that works like chalipin, that you could pay money for the item. The item's not here. I don't do mashicha, and still I'm kind of the cow wherever it is. That's not typical for metaltalin. That wouldn't be typical kind of kinyan. So the Gemara is saying, why does it work? Why does it work? Because we hold like Rabbi Yochanan. The Amar Dvar Torah Mois kind is really minatayra. Money is kind. So matam amru chachamim. Matam amru. Why did the Chazal say mashicha kaina? You have to do mashicha, and money itself does not work. The reason is gzeira shemayamer la nisrifu chitecha ba'aliyah. We're afraid the Chazal made a gzeira for. This comes up a lot of times. This concept. If you give me money for whatever it is for an item, and I have it in my storage house, and you didn't pick it up yet. I'm not. If there's a fire, I'm not necessarily going to save it because it's yours already. It's not mine anymore. I don't really care about it. I got my money. You own it. So Chazal said you don't actually take full ownership. In other words, I'm still responsible on the item until you actually make a mashicha on it. It's not enough just by taking the money. But it's only a takanas Chazal. Really, Rabbi Yochanan says minatayra, money consummates the kinyan.
So all you did, Khalif, and the mammon would be, it would activate the transaction?
Yes.
Is that
Midaraisa.
Midaraisa.
Midaraisa. It would work. Chazal said it doesn't work. No, because Chazal said it doesn't work. If you go to Bezdin and you said, I gave the guy money, but he didn't do a Mashicha, so they're going to say, sorry, we have a Takanas Chazal that you have to do Mashicha. And until you do the Mashicha, you're not going to. But over here, with this case in the Mishnah, case, Hechlef Shar B'Chamar, Shar B'Par, whatever, Milsa the Shchiach. So where did the Chazal say this Gzeira, Milsa the Shchiach? Like something which is normal for this Chazal, for this Takana to be important by. Like if, let's say, I have wheat in the attic, so I'm not going to be careful about it. So there the Chazal's Takana took effect. Most of the Shchiach, Gazer Barabanan. Most of the Loy Shchiach, Gazer Barabanan. In this case, the Mishnah is talking about Par B'Shar, Shar B'Par, whatever, B'Para, it's not Shchiach, so Gazer Barabanan. So it doesn't take, so that's why money could work over here. So the Mishnah is telling us that here, money could be kinda the animal, like Chalipin, like the Daraisa before the Takanas Chazal.
Because the animals are there.
No, the animal doesn't have to be there.
So why can it work? Why wouldn't you have the same?
Because we're not worried that a guy. I guess it's not shchiach for a guy to let the animal, I don't know, get ruined or get hurt. It's not. It might be an animal can save itself.
Oh, I see. I'm just thinking.
Yeah, I'm not.
Take care of the animal that's not.
Yeah, I'm not sure why over here it's listed the shchiach.
Fire in the barn, and he just doesn't open the door because he doesn't care.
Maybe I don't fully understand why it's Milsa L'Shchiach over here. Okay. But anyways, says the Gemara, there's another opinion, the one who argues on Rabbi Yochanan, Sir Shlakish, who says Mashicha is Mefureshes min HaTorah. Kinyan Mashicha is a Kinyan min HaTorah. It's not only a Takanas Chazal, the Torah requires you to do Mashicha on Metaltalin. So then back to explaining the Mishnah. So then according to this opinion, Rav Shlakish, who holds Kinyan Mashicha is Min HaTorah and Kinyan Kesef doesn't work, so then how do you explain the Mishnah? So it only works if you're going to explain it like Rav Sheshes, who holds that the Mishnah is coming to tell us a Chiddush that you could do Chalipin with Peiros, which we said was only Rav Sheshes' opinion. Again, and not Rav Nachman, right? The Amar Peiros Abdi Chalipin, Rav Sheshes. Now, Isa Rav Nachman, but if he holds according to Rav Shlakish, how's he going to explain according to Rav Nachman, who holds you can't do Chalipin on Peiros? The Amar Peiros Le Abdi Chalipin.
And he says you can't use a coin.
So what's the Mishnah talking about? You left us with no more options. Al Karchach Rav Sheshes Sirle. So the answer is he must hold like Rav Sheshes. Very simple. Okay. That's the end of the Gemara. Okay, let's see the Mishnah. Rishus HaGavoya B'Kesef, Rishus HaHedyet B'Chazaka. When it comes to Hektish, Rishus HaGavoya, which is Hektish, Hektish could be kinda with Kesef, but Hedyet, a regular person, B'Chazaka. You have to do Mashicha. You have to do Chazak on the metaltalin. You have to actually take it in your hand or pull it. Amirasi L'Gavoya, second in the Mishnah, Amirasi L'Gavoya K'Misirasi L'Hedyet. Saying to Hektish is like giving over to a regular person. In other words, if a person says, this and this item of mine is Hektish, that's enough. Now Hektish owns it, wherever it is. How does this work? That Rishus Gavoya is Bekesef. Gizbar shenasan mois bebehema. If the Gizbar, the one in charge of the Hektish, gives money for a behema, afilu behema b'seif ha'olam, even if the animal is at the other end of the world, kana, he's kainet. So, for Hektish, the only thing to do is give over money. The second he gives over the money, Hektish now owns that animal wherever it is. But ubehedyet loikana achi yimshech. This is what we were referring to before. That Mashicha, you need Mashicha by a hedyet, by a regular person, he's not kind of the animal until he actually is Maishachet. We'll see some differences in a minute. Keitzad Amirasi L'Gavoya K'Misras L'Hedyet. How does it work that Amirasi L'Gavoya you could just say to Hektish? Ha'omer shar zeh oila. If a guy says this shar should be a oila, a carbon oila, by zeh Hektish, or he says this house should be Hektish, belong to Hektish, to the base of Mikdash. Afilu b'seif oila, even if it's on the other end of the world. Kana, Hektish is kainet. But behedyet like kana. The hedyet is not kainet. If a guy says this animal should be to my friend, it should belong to my friend. Nothing happened yet until the friend actually goes and does a mashicha.
This is only true by those years of
That's
all,
Yom
right?
I
Things not
assume so.
born yet.
Yeah, I guess so.
In other words, it's DAF. We're saying it has to be the Olam. It can be on the other side of the world, but it has to be.
Aha, yeah, good point. Yeah, here, yeah. Sofa Elam works, but not out of this world. Right? Okay, good. Mashchay mana. The Mishnah says, the Brisa says, yeah, we should continue, I guess, right? What time do you usually finish this year?
Well, around
9:30.
10:30? Okay,
On Shabbos morning.
we'll get to the Mishnah. Mashchay b'mana. Oh, so here's some examples. Let's say a guy wants to buy something from Hektish. He's buying an animal from Hektish. Hektish owns the animal, and this guy is redeeming it. Like he's giving money to Hektish, and he's going to take the animal for himself. So he's Moishech it. He actually does a Mashiach on it when the animal was worth a mana. But he didn't actually give the money yet. He didn't pay Hektish for the value of the animal. It took him some time to pay, and before he got a chance to pay, the animal went up in value. Now it's worth 200. So when he did the Mashiach, it was worth 100, which is the normal kinyan of animal is b'Mashiach. So he should technically own it already. But he didn't actually redeem it because you have to redeem. You can't just do Mashiach on a Hektish animal. If I give my friend an animal for a present, he could do Mashiach, and that's enough. But by Hektish, he has to redeem it with money. So he didn't pay the money until it was worth 200. He has to give 200. My time, what's the reason? Because the pasuk says, "V'nasan hakesef v'kamloi." He has to give the money v'kamloi, and then it will be his. What consummates the kinyan from Hektish is money. So until he gives the money, he doesn't actually own it.
So nothing else works except money.
Exactly. So therefore, he has to pay the higher price because he didn't own it yet.
But it doesn't work the other way, though.
What,
If it goes down in price.
Let's see. Mashchay b'masayim. Let's say he did a mashiach, one was worth $200. And he didn't get a chance to redeem it for the money. He didn't pay the money until now it went down in value and it's only worth 100. Nice in masayim. He still gives a 200. Why? My timer. We don't want the right. We don't want Hedjit to be more powerful. So, Hektish has the upper hand. Another example. Let's say he paid money at 200. But he didn't do a Mashiach until. So to get it out of Hektish, he needs the money, right? He needs to give money, we said. But normally for a regular person, this guy's a regular person, to own it, he has to do Mashiach. So he paid the money, he paid the 200, but he didn't get a chance to do the Mashiach yet, and now it went up to 200. So
Went down.
Went down? Oh, I'm sorry, right. He paid 200, and he didn't do Mashiach until it went down to 100. So what does he do? It still stays at 200. He doesn't get a refund. My timer, because it says again, because by Hektish giving the money makes him own it. So it's the money is the main thing. So at that time of the transaction, when he paid the money, it was worth 200, so that it stays at 200. But Padai b'mana, if he paid 100, for the hispik l'mashchay at she'amad b'masayim, and now it went up before he did the mashicha, mashapada padai. He doesn't have to pay extra. In fact, the Gemara, why not? Right? Why shouldn't we say that it goes by the Mashiach like a kayach hedyet, and like before? And he should have to pay extra to, like in other words, if you're buying from your friend and the price went up, he could negotiate if you already agreed that you're buying it for 100, then it went up. He never did a Mashiach yet, and went up. So the guy could say, no, sorry, I'm going back on my word that I said 100 and I want 200. He could do that technically. So why don't we do that for Hektish too? Says the Gemara, Atu Hedjit Lab Misha Parakai. You're right that would work by a Hedjit, that he could demand more money, but it's something he has on him what's called a Misha Para. Misha Para means it's like punishable. It's not how do we say, in good faith. Like it's you technically could demand more money, but it's like there's like a, I don't know if it's an official like a curse. It's like a bad taste, but it's like a I don't know how to explain a mishapara. Mishapara is like it's like a klala. It's like a curse on it. You won't have like good luck from the sale.
Nothing good will come.
Nothing good will come of it. Right. So that's okay. Everybody
brought the Mendel.
What do you say?
The Eibishter exacted payment for brought the Mendel.
Right.
So Hektish the same thing.